Like, no, it's just like, you start crying, yeah.
You start crying, so people feel sorry for you. Okay.
Yep.
Welcome to Decaf, a weekly podcast by the Beacon Center. I'm Taylor, joined by Mark. We are back, and we have a lot of thoughts this week.
A lot of stuff to talk about,
I think we should jump in.
Sure.
So topic 1, World Series. We don't really talk about baseball that much.
No, we talked about the NBA.
I'm a football girl, you're a basketball guy. We don't really talk about baseball much, but I do think the World Series is like kind of sports in its purest form. Like, I really think it's just tried and true, all-American. Like, I think it's great.
Well, baseball's an all-American game, so I feel like that's and like the World Series, which I guess the ratings have been down a lot in the playoffs, but it's kind of a weird World Series because it features this kind of like upstart team. That's Suzanne's team.
Which is so exciting.
The Nationals.
If you don't know Suzanne in our office, you should. Seeing Suzanne excited.
She's so excited.
Is like one of the greatest things ever. And so I have personally enjoyed watching the Nats victory because I've enjoyed seeing how happy Suzanne has been about it.
I was watching a movie while the Nationals were playing in the last series. I had like 14 texts coming back like in a row. I'm like, what is going on?
Yes,
like just because I watch it a little bit. Like it was all from Suzanne. Suzanne 14 straight texts.
She's so excited, and I'm so excited for her. She lived in DC for a long time. That's her team. If it can't be the Braves, I'm happy.
Yeah, why not?
I hate, and I don't hate the Nationals.
And they were what the cool story is they were 19-31, so they had a terrible record. Yeah, they were 12 games under 500. I think their odds of making a World Series at that point were about 300-1 in Sirius. And they made the playoffs. They came in as one of those teams. They were down in the first game of a one-game playoff series. They came back in the 8th inning to win. And then they upset maybe the best team in the league, the Dodgers. They swept the Cardinals last game 4-0. And now
they're 2-0.
They're up 2-0 against arguably the best team of the last 20 years and a very good Astros team. Now, it's not over yet, so I think that even Suzanne understands, like, this is a super good Astros team, but it's exciting for her, and I think it's cool for the nation. I mean, I see a lot of my friends who live in D.C., who actually work on kind of different, some of them are liberal, some are conservative, all seem to be cheering for the same team, so maybe it's some unity.
I know, it's really nice. So what do I have to do to get free tacos?
Okay, that's great.
So I'm a Taco Bell.
This is why you care about the World Series.
Exactly.
So, yes, Taco Bell is this thing where if somebody stole a base in the World Series, which already happened twice, at least in Game 1, between 2 and 6 on the 30th, you get a free taco. Just go to Taco Bell, free taco. And me and my friends are arguing about it.
On the calendar.
See, I think it's super dumb that people would do that, but because you're going to wait in line for like 45 minutes for a taco and you're going to buy 6 more. It's like
I would
to save
my whole life for a taco.
You're missing the point. To save 89 cents. Like
all I'm saying is, Mark, the other day, I was having a bad day and Mark was like, oh, I got you something. And he got me 3 coupons for Taco Bell free tacos. It's like my love.
That was the nicest thing I've ever done. Yeah. My Taco Bell I just happened. I'm like, oh, Taylor like these. I don't go to Taco Bell as much as I like to, but
all I'm saying is you're bringing together great things. America and sports and tacos and the Nats. I just feel like
Democrats, Republicans are all like, I mean,
everybody cares
everyone
about
say
this,
that's right.
It's really nice. And no one so far in the MLB has sympathized with the commies as far as I know.
Not
officially my favorite professional sports league.
Like a lot of Cubans who hate commies. So that's
so here we go. Perfect. So the next thing I want to talk about is something really cool that's happened with Beacon this week. It's gotten us a lot of attention. So Stephanie wrote a research paper, which we don't do much of here. We don't do a ton of formal research papers, but Stephanie did.
Because they're boring for the most part.
But this one is actually pretty interesting.
It was.
Stephanie wrote a paper called Poverty to Prosperity, and it's just about reforming Tennessee's public assistance programs. And there were some really interesting findings that have gotten picked up by all kinds of media sources.
Oh God, the last 3 days have just been, I haven't done any work because I'm just getting calls from media left and right. Everyone wants to talk about this report.
So I'm going to, now we'll do another press conference and you'll be the one talking, but I just want to dig into, we can be very brief, but what did the report find and why is it significant?
Well, there's a lot of things that were in the report that were useful. Just kind of like where our money's spent, and you see a lot of it spent in Shelby County at like a really huge percentage compared to the rest of the state, and kind of what programs are working, which ones aren't, and then which ones we can improve. And really, Stephanie had a really great thing at the end of each of those programs about ways to improve it.
Well, and that's the whole point of our research, that when we do research, it's not just to say this is what's going on, this is what the numbers look like, but it's to say this is what's going on and this is how we interpret it into meaningful solutions.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the one that's gotten a lot of press is that because Stephanie used to work at the Department of DHS. Right. So she kind of asked some questions. We did some open records requests, and basically found out there was about $730 million of extra money that is TANF money, so it's federal funds that are supposed to go to kind of working families to help them. So she came with a lot of great solutions to that, whether it's childcare for working families, whether it's transportation, which could be Uber, Lyft things for people who just don't have a car and need to get to work.
Yeah. People who really are trying.
Oh, yeah, that are working, working families.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of press on that just because nobody really knew that money existed, and Stephanie did a great job and found it out. But it's just, it's a great opportunity for us moving forward to kind of revolutionary type solutions and think about things that encourage work. But also like say, okay, we're not just going to leave you there. Like here's a hand up. So this idea that, look, you're trying to work, there's this money that we cannot spend elsewhere because it comes from the federal government.
It can only go to one.
It has to be spent on working. Exactly. Yeah. Because the idea is like
it's a block grant that can be spent on one thing.
Yeah, and exactly. And if we're taking in too much money and we have all this money left over, then either we probably shouldn't be taking the money in the first place, or we should be taking less of it. But there's a lot of great innovative solutions that, again, encourage work. I mean, we're not talking about these, it's not extra food stamps. It's not like having people who aren't trying to get a job. It's not trying to support them. It's people who are really trying to work and have to support a family. That's tough.
Right. And we've heard from those people. I've been getting emails from those people through our website of, I had no idea. And so it's really important, I think.
I feel like they think we're a government agency, that right?
Definitely. The ones that I have forwarded you definitely do. But there are people out there that don't know these things exist, and I think that's part of what Beacon can do for the community and for the state is point out where there are solutions.
And it is a good time for both sides to come together and come up with solutions too.
Absolutely, 100%. Speaking of both sides coming together, that is not what's happening leading into
Speaking of that, the opposite of what we're going to do.
Let's talk about one side turning on itself. So, in case you missed it, Hillary Clinton has declared Tulsi Gabbard, who is a 2020 Democratic presidential candidate,
kind of. She's more like 1%.
Yeah, that's true. Hillary Clinton has declared Tulsi to be a Russian asset. Now, you can say, well, she didn't say Tulsi's name, blah, 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 blah. Let's be real. In Hillary's comment.
No, she did say her name.
She
said her name directly.
Hey. Well, then I take that back.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton blatantly called Tulsi Gabbard a Russian asset. And your girl Tulsi. Now, I didn't know a lot about her. To be very honest, I've not been following the Democratic debates. You've been following them way more than I have. I'm kind of just like,
I know all the free stuff they want to give out, so I can let you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of whatever at this point. But Tulsi wasn't having it. And,
no.
And if y'all have learned anything about me in the course of this podcast, I'm a girl power girl. And so when Hillary fired at Tulsi, Tulsi fired back, and she called Hillary Clinton. So Hillary Clinton calls Tulsi a Russian asset. Tulsi, in return, says that Hillary is... With
no evidence, too. I want to be clear. Yeah, like, not a Russian asset. She has nothing to say other than, like, oh, she's...
I mean, the woman just did, like, an active tour. Like, she's been active in the military.
Yeah, correct.
So, okay. Tulsi called her the embodiment of corruption, the queen of warmongers, and personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party. Okay.
Strong.
So those are strong words. I am not bold enough to insult anyone like that behind their back, much less to their face on social media.
But it's self-defense. I mean, she got hammered by
someone who has been the like idol of the Democratic Party since her husband was president. Everyone has been grooming Hillary to be president. She lost, but she still kind of
twice.
But she still kind of takes this place as like the head of the Democratic Party, and she came after
the self-proclaimed head. I don't think they don't like her anymore, but
yeah. And she fires at this fellow woman who is only getting 1% in the polls, around 1%. I mean, maybe
they said something. They were like, literally, what could have possibly made Hillary want to fire the 11th place challenger in the Democratic Party? Like, what was the possible like strategy there?
And you want to talk about building up women? Like, I'm not what you'd consider, like, when you think about a millennial feminist. I'm not that, but I am a girl power feminist.
I mean, feminist by the actual term, not by what it's not the art it's been taken.
Yeah, correct. And I just really can't imagine looking at another woman, and especially someone who is active in the military and who has
defended our country,
and then be like, that's the one that I'm going to choose to call a Russian asset.
Yeah, by the way, 5 seconds left. My prediction is that Hillary Clinton gets in the race before we talk next week.
You really think so?
Yes, I think this is part of her strategy, and there's been a lot. I think she gets in the race for president.
This is blowing my mind. I've literally not even thought about that. I wish we had 3 more minutes to talk about it. But
that is my bold. It's a bold prediction. It's not.
This is getting spicy, and there will be more to talk about with this.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about is Halloween costumes, because Halloween is next week, and I have an amazing costume for next week.
I think amazing's a strong word.
Well, it's an inflatable costume, so
it's a alien costume, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's an alien carrying a person, and so my head will be the person, and my legs will be the alien legs, and it's inflatable. Anyway, I'm not going to get asked out on any dates because of this costume.
I mean, either way,
it's probably like boy repellent.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No, I mean it's weird. I guess it's like
it's a very weird.
So,
costume.
do you like it because of the whole Area 50? Is that why it's the Area 51 thing's popular?
So I just thought I was going to try to do something that was relevant, kind of in the news, and I didn't want to dress like a presidential candidate because I don't really like any of them, and then I didn't. I just didn't know what to do, and all my friends were really following the Area 51 thing. And
there's a lot of memes, a lot of good memes on that.
A lot of good memes, and so I just thought that would be really funny. And also, I don't really take myself that seriously to begin with, but especially on Halloween, like I think it is a really good time to just really let loose and let myself be funny.
I'm actually interested to see, because we're going to be going to the same Halloween party because we're going to be at a conference. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether people are going to like it or not. Like, no. I mean that.
I'm so self-conscious.
No. I mean that very seriously. I don't like it. I don't think it's funny, but other people have different opinions. But I know the Area 51 thing. So like, I mean this with full, like, it is cool you're dressing up. I am interested to see if people like it or not. Like, I'm very interested. I'm not actually insulting you. I do not like it. I don't think it's funny, but I'm not into the whole alien thing.
Perfectly clear. I brought the picture in to Mark before I ordered it, and I was like, oh my God, the best costume. And he was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I bought it anyway, obviously.
But I want to say that I'm not necessarily the voice of everyone. So like, so I am interested to see what people think about it, because it might be a hit. I might poll people at our conference and see what they think about it.
Okay, so what are you going to be that's so much better than me? You can't trash me and then.
I'm probably either not going to dress up because it's a jersey. Well, no, it would be a full jazz outfit though, because I have the shorts that match.
Mark, that's not a costume. That's like going to the grocery store for you.
Exactly. So I'm spending $0.
Oh my god.
And I'm still look much. Well, I mean, I always look much different, but I look even more different than everybody else.
So lame.
Well, no, it's not. The alien's lame.
What's your favorite Halloween costume you've ever had?
Chucky. Chucky from Rugrats.
You dressed like.
Oh no, from Rugrats. No, not murderous Chucky.
That's terrifying.
Well, they both have red hair, right?
Yeah, but it's so scary.
No, I just remember I went trick-or-treating and the person's like, oh, who are you supposed to be? I'm like, oh, I'm Mark. I live across the street. He's like, no, I meant your costume. I'm like, and like as a 10-year-old, I'm like, well, I'm an idiot. Like, oh my God. I am Chucky from Rugrats. What about yours ever? Hopefully not this year.
My favorite one ever was probably my mom dressed me up like a Hershey Kiss one year, and it was like this big, like, silver. I mean, I literally looked like a Hershey Kiss.
How old were you?
Maybe 5.
Okay, that's cute.
But people loved it.
That's a cool costume.
Little, like Hershey Kiss walking down the street, and people really loved it.
You should be that again. That's way better than the alien costume. I like Hershey Kiss.
It fit me as a 5-year-old, so probably.
You're pretty short still. It's not going to be that far off.
I wanted to dress like a Christmas tree, but
that would have been a good costume.
It would have been really fun.
Oh God, that would have been.
But my heart set on the alien.
Well, you bought it. That's why it's set on it.
Yeah, that's true. I spent like $50 on that. Okay, we'll see what happens. We won't see you next week because
we won't. I'm sorry. At a conference.
Yes. But the first week of November, we'll report back on let's make a promise. We'll report back on 2 things: the popularity of my Halloween costume,
okay,
and whether or not Hillary's in the race.
And I bet yes. But that's a bold prediction. I do want to say, like, I'm going on a limb saying that.
Really bold. I'm going to go against it,
okay.
But per usual for our relationship. And so we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great Halloween.
Yeah.